From the front to the back, from the US to the UK, stand to your feet. Fight Club starts now.
Love the energy in this room. Fight Club was last year down the hall, and now we're up at the main stage for the main event. And they're bringing us back. Why? Because we have more shit to say. And quite frankly, we have a lot of our peers still sitting on their ass.
Whoa, whoa. We have not even given them the warning. We have not dropped the rules. Tap the brakes. We have not even given you the warning. I promise you, we're going to try not to drop the F-bomb. We got a special okay to do that if needed, but only if we get hyped enough. But I promise you, we got shit to say. Why are we up here doing Fight Club? There is definitely a passion between us for others. Just last night, it sold me on why we're doing this Fight Club. Even Chuck told us he was going to get off his ass. I'm impressed. And then Kelly was telling me how she needed a kick in the ass. And Kathy was telling me how she was up since Fight Club over 20%. Allison shared with me, know nothing about the number, just about how she found time, how important that was, how she learned that. Her business is up $100,000 since Fight Club last year. It's that kind of stuff that gets us pumped up, but others, we're calling you out. You're lazy. You need to get off your ass. Joanne shared with us that we're in the top 10. That is not representative of the greatness in this room. We have to step it up. We cannot slip out of that top 10. Do you guys want to be the generation that falls out of there? Those top 8 through 13 are so tight. It's just ready for one person to have an acquisition or have a stellar year to jump up to that next level. We don't want to be the ones that fall out of there. Do you want to be chumps or champs? I want to be a champ. I don't want to be a chump. There is definitely 2 different fighting styles here for sure. But one thing we're excited about is elevating that client experience and giving back to others. We strive to improve our fight constantly.
Now I'm going to be honest with you. Coming into Fight Club last year, how many of you were at Fight Club 1.0 last year? Great. I was struggling going into Fight Club, going to Galleria last year. My sales were down, and personally I had a wrecked shoulder and headed for surgery. So personally I was down, professionally I was down, and you can say I was against the ropes. But what Fight Club did for me is I had to kind of practice what I preach. And it got me thinking, got me being more strategic, got me hungrier, and got me fighting for the rest of the year. So those last 5 months of the year, those last 5 rounds, I actually made up ground volume-wise and ended up in a decent place last year. A little bit down, but a decent place. But it got me organized for this year, which I cannonballed into, and I'm doing great now. I'm up big time, so I love it. So it works for me, it works for you.
Dude, why do you have a megaphone?
We have to make sure that no one is sleeping on the rules of Fight Club, especially the newbies.
Yes, I remember what happened to Terry Durstein last year. So let's show him the rules.
Look at Terry hiding back there. He doesn't think we're going to call him up, huh?
He better put his phone away.
Rule number 1. Get off your phone and absorb some knowledge. Rule number 2. Easily offended? Pack up your pacifier, snuggie blanket, and your shit, and get out. Only winners in this ring.
No lightweights allowed.
Rule number 4. From the salespeople in this room to our VPs to the janitor down the room, take that one match that's going to light your ass on fire. Rule number 5.
You need to capture this knowledge, put it pen to paper, take some notes.
And rule number 6. This is not a skit. It's time to own your shit.
Man, who said the shit doesn't stink? They were lying, because all shit stinks. This is a sequel, and we're up here talking the same old shit. You need to be avoiding other people's shit. They're bringing you their problems, their misery, and saying, take a whiff of that. You need to back up. You need to be tough. You need to set boundaries. You need to focus on the right things. Don't let that shit stink. I love talking shit, I know, but we're going to break it down the format for you.
We got some newbies here at Fight Club, and they're going to know what hit them. Me and him. We're sharing punches in a very digestible format. Don't try to implement all at once, but pick 3 that you like that resonate with you and implement those 3 over the next 30 days. That's where you'll have success.
If you hear a punch that speaks to you, jump on social with these hashtags, Geiger Galleria and hashtag Fight Club.
But not in the session.
Not in the session. Get off your phone, Ashley.
Now, we've set aside some time at the end of the presentation for no questions.
So punches start now.
We're going to start with a weigh-in from last year. We have some heavyweight successes from the attendees of the 2018 Fight Club. People, 59% of the people who requested a sales plan from the presentation last year actually created a sales plan. That's great. But what about the 41% that asked but didn't do? Remember that saying last year, asshole? If you weren't here last year, you can ask me at the end of the session. You gotta follow through. You gotta be all in Fight Club. Now those folks that got the sales plan template, 70% of those folks raised their sales. 20% were flat and 10% were down. Only 29% of non-planners reported growth. So people weren't thinking about how they're going to grow strategically. So you got to plan. Now we have some Fight Clubbers. We want to celebrate their successes. 19 folks asked for the sales plan last year and did the survey. And these are the 19 folks up on the screen. Hopefully your name is up there. There were a few more that asked for the plan that aren't there, but they didn't do the survey. These folks did the sales plan and the survey. And what they're going to be rewarded with is a Fight Club backpack from Storm Tech, and this is called the Oasis backpack, and it has an $80 retail value. So if your name's on the board here, and you are here, you have to be in the room today. Go see our posse at the end of the presentation. You see a Draco over there? And go pick up your backpack. Thank you.
Control, Alt, Delete. There's very few things in this world that you can actually control. We're going to talk about the 3 things that you can control. You can control yourself. You decide your what comes in, your direction, where your words, your actions. The other thing you can control is your mind. You can alter your thinking. What your input is also it affects your output. Another thing you can control is negativity. You KO that shit. You knock it out.
Now I'm going to teach you a trick of mine. It's called the 10-count comeback. You know that uneasy feeling in your stomach when you lost a big order? And you were counting on those funds because the bills are rolling in? Or maybe that order came in, and so now you're really counting on the money. Maybe Geiger even paid you, and now the order went away. That's even more painful. Yeah, we all feel like we've been punched in the tummy on that one. Huh? Well, how do we dig ourselves out? The 10-count comeback. So when this happens, after you collect yourself, I want you to take a piece of paper and write down 10 clients that you're going to call. immediately. And you want to touch base with them. Tell them you have an idea that you'd like to share with them. Generate an excuse to go in and talk with them. But if you make these 10 calls, you'll probably get through to what? Maybe 3 to 5 of them? But inevitably, 1 to 3 of those calls are going to say, Dave, I'm glad you called. I need X. It just happens. You just have to pick up the damn phone, right? So, I have an example for you. I have 3 kids in college. My youngest is going into her junior year. Luckily, and my boys have been in college for a number of years.
2 minutes. 2 minutes. Let's call them out.
But up till now, my wife and I were able to write a check to cover tuition in room. And we just paid the bills and paid the bills and pulled from the 529. And it's all good. Well, we got Erin's tuition for the fall. Late June, and it was due July 1st. And it was obviously a substantial amount, and it's the first time I turned to the bank account and the money wasn't there. Oh shit. What am I gonna do? Well, I started reading, we can borrow, we can pay monthly, all this stuff. But what I did, 10 count comeback, developed that list. True story. My first called a real good customer of mine. Oh, Dave, I'm glad you called. She gave me an order, 6-figure order, was the exact amount for the tuition when it's grossed up on the first call. So, call it lucky, because I am probably the luckiest guy you know. Maybe I manifested it, but I took action. So, luck happens when you take action. So, true story, that totally worked. And I'm saved for this semester at least. So the trick works, so pick up the damn phone.
I'm an overnight failure. Success does not come without failure. When I started 10 years ago with Geiger with Sonia, we were about $1 million in sales. We had over $100,000 in debt. We're here 10 years later, almost 3 times that volume and 0 debt. I'm not sharing that to impress you or to get claps, but it's to impress upon you to let you know that this didn't come overnight. It was a fight. I'm still working on my fight. I've got some sloppy hits. I've even have some weaknesses that I'm fine-tuning. But I'll tell you one thing, I'm not scared of failure, because failing with a client, a project, any of that, it's necessary to get to the journey that I want to get to of success. But this is also where a lot of people struggle, is that fear of failure. You know, I'm scared to take that next step. It's holding me back where I could be great. But you use that failure to propel you to greatness and to go to your next destination. So do not let it hold you back.
Now, we had a successful session last year, and when we started planning for this year's Fight Club talk, what are we going to talk about? We gave away our best thoughts last year. So one thing we did is I reached out to some very successful salespeople in the industry that weren't affiliated with Geiger, because we're kind of drinking all the same Kool-Aid here, right? So I reached out to a number of folks. I was trying to get some baseline on best practices. What's their secret sauce? We think we know what Geiger's is, but what's theirs? And you know what? I wasn't going anywhere. Everyone had different businesses and would give me totally different answers all across the board. But there was one common denominator, and that was hustle. They're out working their competition. They're working harder, they're working smarter, they're out hustling their competition. That was the baseline learning on those calls.
Non-sexy is attractive. Quit looking for the one client that makes your portfolio look great. I can tell you from experience, I got a hard story here for me that hit personally. We used to work a lot with Coca-Cola. We actually were in the neighborhood of $4 million working with them. But I learned the hard way. Coca-Cola has so many people that want to work with them that we had competitors that were so fierce, they were willing to sell, like on a contract, for the cost of goods sold, like just what the materials cost. No markup, no overhead, just to get in the door. And there's big brands that are using that as leverage on the next sucker in line that's willing to do that. I'm not willing to do that. Why are we chasing the same prospects that everyone else is chasing? You've got to look bigger, but different. And we're going to talk about that. But I don't think my point's getting across. You've got to look the other way. You can see some traffic here, but I'm going to blow it up for you. This is 50 lanes of traffic merging down to 4. They're all going the same way. But look on the side. What's going the other direction? So many big distributors are chasing all those huge clients to make their portfolio look great. Imagine what is in the other direction. So let's talk about that, because it's actually my secret for the perfect prospect. It's looking for that non-sexy. Write this down. If you seek non-sexy brands, sexy brands will seek you. It's so easy with Google to find the perfect prospect. All that information is available to all of us in this room. I don't have any magic sauce or magic resource or magic list. I'm just going to Google. I'm typing in a certain type of volume, type of client I'm looking for, how many employees they got. It's all there. But the thing where a lot of people look over is, I might not recognize this company. Who is that? And then they move on. That's actually the preferred person that you're interested in. Just yesterday, David illustrated it. He didn't even know I'm going to talk about this. He was maybe flirting. I don't know what it was. Working his game. But there was somebody else in this room that had having a conference. He was chatting with the girls, telling them about Fight Club, getting pumped up. It was some weird name, Asshole or Asab, something I've never heard of. Can't even obviously pronounce it. But in just a few minutes, David found out that they had 40,000 employees, 43,000 employees. That's an incredible prospect for him. They were talking about how their current person sends them a bunch of crap that falls apart in 2 years. They logo slap. And I'm thinking, why do they even buy from those people? It's because nobody's chasing them. So when you see those people that you don't recognize, those are the preferred ones. Go after those. Plus, when you win them, you have less competition. That's what you want. And what happens with that is you have better margins, better relationships. It's easier to serve somebody and give them the full service when you don't have somebody banging on your door trying to give them better pricing to get in the door. Chase the non-sexy. I can tell you personally from our portfolio that out of our top 5 clients, you've probably never heard of the top 3 and 4. It's because we chase those non-sexy ones.
You can't always fight the same style. You have to evolve. Joanne was just talking about that in her presentation. So what's our new strike? For me, it was upping my game in social media. I actually committed to social media, wrote a social media strategy, folded into my sales and marketing plan, and thanks to Kirby Hassman from Hassman Marketing, a friend of Geiger's who spoke at Geiger 2 years ago, between following him on social media and speaking with him, he told me that video is where it's at. You've got to do video. And guess what? When you start video, you're gonna suck.
You do.
And when you keep going in video, you're still gonna suck. But eventually, you'll get better. So if any of you follow the Brand Hero Instagram or Brand Hero Facebook, you're gonna see video. And it kind of sucks. But hopefully it's sucking less nowadays, and it's going to get better, and eventually it's going to rule the ring for me. But the tactic is working for me, so I am all in on this.
What are you doing to keep up? The average buyer is currently 35 years old, and I can tell you that number is only going to get lower. The average distributor salesperson is 57 years old. I'm somewhere in the middle. I know you would know that with these looks, with my Fight Club fade and all. But how are you changing that perception? How are you bridging the gap between you and them? You've got to look different. What are you bringing to the table? Your experience, your knowledge. That's how you're different. I can tell you right now that ESP and Sage are not enough. You've got to be using other resources, other tools to load your gym bag so that you're different from excuse me, than your competition. You cannot be a rookie. You have to be perceived as the expert for them.
Now for tag team, we have to identify your weakness. And by weakness, I mean weaknesses. Everyone's got multiple weaknesses. What are you good at? What are you bad at? Identify that. If you're not good at it, get better at it. If you're not good at it, and you're never going to be better at it, accounting, you outsource. But you need to fight the bigger battle with a bigger army. That means delegating. Does that mean bringing someone on part-time, having someone help you with the marketing, but offload the stuff that's a time suck for you that you're not good at? That's the point. So when you do this, I want you to take 2 weeks and calculate your hourly rate. Are you making $5 an hour to minimum wage? Then you need to hit the gym. But if you're not, then hey, you're doing great. But hit the gym if you're $5 to $10 an hour. Come on, work smart.
Specs equal checks. How many specs are you doing? How many is enough? Scott Humans, he shared with me how many he takes on the average sales call. I hate to say, at one time, it was more than I did in an entire year. Just on one call, no longer. I got permission to share this about Halo. Probably not from the right source, but anyway. I have a supplier friend that was sharing with me what's the secret there. So he told me that they're one of their lowest performers. We're talking about low. And he implemented a strategy where he does 5 specs every single week. Every single week. He is now their #1 rep. From the bottom to the top. Specs. That's it. That's pretty impressive.
Dang, talk about boiling it down.
Amen, brother.
But it matters what kind of specs you're doing. You have to research them. Don't waste suppliers' time just giving randoms that you're not sure if it's going to hit. Do some research about what kind of specs your client might buy. What is their next project that's coming up? You might get lucky. This is a picture just recently on a pitch with Rob Kilgore and Sonia. We did some research. What kind of things are they interested in? At the end of our pitch, they put the apparel on, put on the caps, the vest, and they asked us to take their picture. That's a perfect pitch. That client's now bought about $20,000 since that call just a month ago. But I'm going to tell you, our suppliers, our production partners are amazing. You cannot be greedy with specs. Do not waste their time. And I'm telling you, it costs them money. It's an investment. They still have to pay for the setup. They still have to pay for the production time. They still have the overhead. Make sure you're researching those specs. Make it worthwhile. When you're showing results from them, they will do amazing stuff for you. They will step out of their comfort zone because they trust you. They partner with you. Do not waste their time.
How well do we leverage the strengths of Geiger? How many of you are talking about the kitting services that we can do? The corporate programs, custom packaging, that's totally trending. Custom overseas projects, Geiger.com, pop-up stores. Are you talking about Geiger's green eco efforts and technology? Short story, I had TJX up for a visit to corporate headquarters last February. And we kind of did all the specs and the dog and pony show and really put on a great show and tour and showed them the Farmer's Almanac. And they were very, very impressed with Geiger. But what stole the show, believe it or not, during the tour, we stopped at the desk of John Assam. You know that guy that sends you those emails that says, "Don't click the link." My client was so impressed that Geiger had someone on staff to protect us, our data, our company, and ultimately them. That totally stole the show of the whole day-long meeting.
Wow.
So When I typically in the past have done presentations, I just did a bullet, scattered shotgun approach and say, this is why we're awesome, this is why we're awesome, trust me, this and this and this. I was basically throwing up what all our strengths were. You have to stop throwing up. Your client cannot recall all 20 points you just shared with them. You need to remember your top 3 that you're sharing on your pitch. What do you want to get across? What do you want them to remember? Humans told me you need to repeat this 3 times during your pitch so that they remember that. Also, you need to name drop. Use some big names. I just picked up some from what they're using over in the UK. We're doing Starbucks over there. We're doing Tesco over there. I'm going to be dropping those names in my next pitch. It makes us look bigger. That becomes trust with them that we can handle those big brands. Use them. I'm going to share with you what are my strengths. What do I want to get across to the client? The first one is I'm a product geek. There's not many people that know more about trends and products than I do. That's what I want to get across, that they can come to me. I'm also want to stress out about bigger is better, working with Geiger. There's no one better. We are the biggest. You need to come to us. But the third strength that I'm talking about is actually customized for that client. What is the challenge that they're currently faced that we just talked about in the first 2 minutes of rapport? While we're there, I'm using that throughout the whole pitch. You've got to learn it there, and you're going to answer that problem right there on the spot.
How can we better the probability of a client working with us versus the competition? Who here wants a big order?
Me.
Who here would love?
I don't think that was kind of weak.
Who wants a big order? Yeah. Who would love a $1 million order?
Give it to me!
Yeah.
Love enthusiasm. Well, in order for us, let's go along the lines of it's $1 million order that we're pitching here. How are you going to get that $1 million order versus your competition? The client has a checklist in their head. First and foremost, client's thinking, this is my career. I'm not going to give it to some guy that's going to screw it up. This is my job, this is my career. Who can I trust not to screw it up? Who's strategic? Who's a good project manager? Who has excellent communication skills? Who will do right by me if the job goes sideways? Who's going to guarantee success? So that's what I have in my head that I have to deliver to get that $1 million project. So I have another cheat for you, and it's called the scorecard. And I used to use this when I pitched a different type of promotion. And I've used it a couple times here at Geiger. But when I think about that $1 million project, or maybe it's that corporate program that I'm pitching, I think about what the criteria is for selection of the agency or the partner that's going to produce the product, and I actually write down 5 or 10 bullet points of what I think the client needs to realize before they award the business. And I write it down. So let's just say it's 5 bullet points. Does Geiger understand the strategy? Did Geiger bring creative ideas to the table? Is Geiger an expert in safety? Does Geiger have the technology to handle this project? And I print that out on a buck slip. Write the scorecard, the Geiger scorecard, iconography, make it fun, put some marketing and flair. Pass it out to the client at the beginning of the presentation. Make my presentation knowing that I made the scorecard. So throughout the presentation, I've asked my client to check the box when they think Geiger's the right company and we take safety seriously. So hopefully, through the presentation, you see a client check the box. At the end of the presentation, I ask them to complete the scorecard. Hopefully, if I did a good job presenting, all 5 of those boxes are checked. I'm trying to make the purchase decision for the client. Because when they go through agency selection, They may be seeing 2 people, they may be seeing 10 people. And that guy that went first or second, they forgot about you. But I left them something. I left them a reminder that I hit all 5 boxes. And hopefully that will translate into us getting the business. It's worked for me in the past. If you like it, steal it. If you need more explanation, then grab me after the presentation.
All right, we're bringing back R&D. Connie, I don't know if you're over there to kind of be out of the realm. You might be called out, but this is one of the most popular points from last year is rip off and duplicate. So I'm going to give you some items that you can rip off. This is called the swag card. We all have those projects that go bad. Unfortunately, you're not going to get away from them. Our suppliers, you never know what might happen. You might overpromise. I don't know. But you've got to have something in your tool bag, in your gym bag to be able to give out. This is called the swag card that we give out if something like that goes wrong. Because our goal, when we screw up and we look like shit, we want to make sure we're getting that next order so that we guarantee that. This swag card is like a gift card. It's just a piece of plastic, same material as a gift card. We just send it with a note. Sorry about that. It sits on their desk. People redeem these. Our next thing, unsolicited specs and samples. I'm going to tell you 2 stories that have worked really well for me. The new buyer hire. We all have that fear when we've had this account for so long and all of a sudden someone's new in there and we're not sure if we're going to keep getting the business from them. So what I just did this 2 weeks ago. A new buyer female, and I wasn't sure if she was feeling, what we were selling there. So what I did, I sent her a presentation deck. It had 20 ladies' apparel items, and I said, I don't want you to feel out of place when everybody is walking around the office wearing logoed apparel and you don't have any. So I want you to pick 2 items out of here, and we're going to decorate them with the logo, and you get them free of charge so that you don't feel out of place. She was so ecstatic. Well, man, she could have bought it off the store for 25 bucks, 30 bucks. But now she's actually got something that no one else in the company has, because I showed new apparel, new lady styles that are not in the program. This next one, we all have that client that loves their ego stroked. They're that vice president that needs to be stroked occasionally. So I have one. What I do occasionally is I tell them, look, I've got some limited edition polos that are, and Sanmar's got some right now if you want to use them, that are limited edition Nikes. And I told them, hey, I'm ordering this. You're going to see it in a couple of days in your size. Try it on. Give me your feedback. They love to tell you if that shit works. They love even more to tell you if the shit doesn't work. But it's the fact that I stroke their ego to say, your opinion matters. It's client feedback. It's that interaction with them. It's amazing what this does with clients. This particular client, these were both in the same area. And there's so many, we've had, unfortunately, a few problems with this client. But it's actions like this that take problems and all of a sudden they're just ripples. They're no big deal. They're saying, okay, no, that's okay that we were late today. I'm like, I'm the one freaking out and sweating. They're okay with it. Problems no longer are waves, they become ripples. You should also be stealing suppliers' content. Courtney, you need to be on social media. And you need to be posting pictures. Our suppliers are giving us content on their sites that you can just drop in yours. You're going to get automatic likes because they're going to like it. It's really simple. That's all we're doing. We're just recycling content for ours. The other item is designs. They're designing these great things to push their products. Utilize those designs. You'll see the top right here. This is a sun care kit that's actually at Snuggs. Little secret, it's not in ESP, it's not in Sage. You share that with your clients, they're not going to see it elsewhere. I'm not telling Snuggs, hopefully they're not in the room, that it's not there. But all I did is say, I love this design. Let's just drop in our clients' colors, throw their logo on it, and my client was looking for a Hawaii event for their VIPs. They wanted to spend a retail item, and I showed them this. They said, this looks way better than retail, and we're about 45–50% on that, just because you took the effort, and I stole somebody else's work.
Let's talk about ruts. Everyone gets in a rut every once in a while. And why is that? Because we're salespeople. And we hear all too often, no, no, no. You can't come see me. I'm not giving you the order. I'm going in a different direction. It can be a real downer, huh? We've all heard that. Lost orders, lost accounts, client fires. How many of us spend too much time on client challenges? You think you're going to make a whole day of cold calls, and all of a sudden you're dealing 6 hours fixing a project. Now for me, when personal life's going great and professional life's not going so great, I can push through that. And vice versa. When professional life's going great and I have some personal adversity, I can deal with it. But what happens when I get in a rut is when something personal is bothering me, maybe it's kids or something, and then professional life isn't going so great, you're not having a great sales month. Combine those two, and that's when you can go down the drain. So I have some tricks for you today to help pull you out. This is what works for me. Number one is workout. Just because I burn off the steam, burn off the stress. And also, if I'm on the treadmill or elliptical or something, I'm actually problem solving as I'm zoning out. And I do some of my best thinking while working out. I get outside and get those therapeutic sun rays, and I don't spray tan. Also, it clears my mind. Another thing I embrace is the good deed, the random act of kindness. I do at least one per day. Hopefully karma pays me back on the back end. And lastly, on really bad days, when you're having a really bad day, I have been known to go into the bathroom, take a shower, totally change my whole wardrobe, and have a redo. Start fresh. Others, I hear, do yoga, meditate, pray, and I'm sure there's a lot of other things. So this is the part of Fight Club we want you to talk about. Talk to your peers about ruts and how they get out of ruts. And then get this checklist and hide it in your drawer. Because sometimes when you're in a rut, you know you're in a rut, but you don't know what to do to get out. Like literally, if you have this thing written down, glance at it. And yeah, I know I'm in a rut. I identified it. I'm digging myself out. I'm going to help myself.
Wear it out. I'm actually going to be calling out a lot of you here.
Uh-oh.
Yes, you should be scared.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to actually offend some people. So, if you are not personally wearing the apparel that we sell or testing the backpacks that we have, you are really messing up. You are missing out. So, I'm actually telling you, you should be selling from experience. Now, I'm actually going to piss off some ladies. I hear a lot of ladies that have told me, I don't wear polos because they don't match my style, they don't match my pearls or my jewelry. So I'm calling you out. Use that as ammunition to find the perfect piece of apparel because your clients have the same issues. You should be wearing the stuff. If you don't want to wear it, you need to find the helper. Who are you using to let you have some experience? Buy some polos for your partner. Let them wear it. And they can give you feedback that you can walk in on a call and tell, sharing from experience. Talk to your suppliers about what are their top 3, polos that they're selling. Most often, when you have an opportunity to quote some polos, let's say, and your client said, I need some options. You send it to them and say, Sage or ESP, it's a picture about this small, and they're trying to make a decision. Do we spend thousands of dollars for this 4-inch picture that, I don't know what it feels like. I don't know how it hangs. And you're asking a certain amount of money for it. How do you think they're making a decision if you can't go to them and share some expertise of why this polo costs this much, why it's this much better? You've got to have some experience. So there's value in that. That's the difference between you and online. They could buy that shit. If all you're doing is just sharing 4 polos and they're all the same price, they can go to 4 Imprint and buy the same damn thing. What are you bringing to the table? You've got to do that different. There is so much value when you can go into a client and say, I wear this and it holds up. I've washed this thing 15 times. If you could give that experience, even if it's your spouse. I tell, my wife loves this polo. It actually looks like it's something that did not come from our industry. It looks like she bought it in retail. Use that personal experience. Your client is leaning into you to be the expert. You're not just a supplier. They can get that elsewhere. People buy from reviews. When I go to shop at Amazon, I'm looking at those stars. If somebody has a bad experience, that's influencing my decision. TripAdvisor, health scores, Yelp, where I eat. All that's influenced by reviews. Sell from experience.
Now, a fight can break out anywhere, even at Olive Garden, of all places. Going to go back to my daughter, Erin, who will be going to college, back to college in September. She's been gainfully employed by the Olive Garden for the past 6 weeks. Management likes her. The average drink goal per table at an Olive Garden is 3.3 drinks, alcoholic drinks, per table. The restaurant average in Foxborough, Massachusetts is 2.6 drinks. So the servers there are underperforming on suggestively selling alcoholic drinks. Erin's rate is 5.6. Double.
Just like her dad.
She's a daddy's girl.
So management came to her and said, Erin, you've only been here 6 weeks. What are you doing differently than anyone else? And she said, I'm being consistent. This is how you train me, and I'm doing it with everyone. So when the other servers get busy, they just quickly, bring the bread and get everything out there. Erin approaches the table. Welcome to Olive Garden. Would you like to sample the red wine or the white wine? And more times than not, they'll at least take a sip. And then she'll ask them how they like it. And so some portion of that converts into a wine sale. Would you like a cocktail? And they said, absolutely. I'll take a margarita. And she suggestively sells, would you like to upgrade to top shelf Patron? And yeah. More times than not, people, give me the top shelf Patron. So she's driving alcohol sales and also driving the upsell of the top shelf premium spirits. Remember last year, one thing that kind of resonated with a lot of people was the upsell and the add-ons. Do you want fries with that? Right? And we had to remember to, after we have a sale, like we sell the giveaway swag for the conference, asking about what else do you need, what else do you have to buy to hold this conference? Asking what else is there, not just you have a great 10,000 piece order on something, but asking what else, taking that extra step. Don't be lazy, ask for something else. Everyone know what bonus fries are? You go through the drive-through, Brian and I got a couple burgers or a chicken sandwich, a couple large fries, dole it out, look in the bag. There's always a few fries in the bottom of that bag, right? Those are bonus fries. I don't even think the bonus fries have calories. Well, the biggest bonus fry of all is when you're meeting with these folks and they're giving you the orders. They like us, right? They're giving us orders. That's a perfect time for asking for the referral. So a referral is the ultimate bonus fry. Remember that.
Be the bear. This is a picture of a trophy that's on my desk that I use for motivation for 2019 about being the bear. Why a bear? Because it's time to show your strength. It's time to beat your chest a little bit. Be confident. There's a difference between that and cocky. I own it. It's mine. What about a bear is also important is about being agile and quick. You've got to be quick to react to our clients' needs. I can call out several of you in this room. that this is where you need help. I see on social media, and it aggravates me when you've been looking for something for the past 4 or 5 days that you cannot find it for your client. I can tell you that if you're waiting that long to get back to your client is looking somewhere else. They're not waiting. You also have to protect yourself. Protect Geiger. Be focused on product safety. A bear is also fierce. I want to create a reputation that where all competitors fear me. All you.
What? I thought you were going to put the slide in.
You got to do it.
Sorry, Gene. We're going to teach you how to roar. A friend of ours and a peer of ours taught me a couple things a couple years ago. And that's, if you want to be successful, you have to own it. You can't just go through the motions. You just can't go to the meeting and present the ideas and ask for the sale. You have to be all in and you have to own that particular pitch. So that means 110%. That means over the top with spec samples and impressing people. So if you're going to do something, do it at 110% if you're going to win. This is the part. 2 years ago, I went to China with Geiger. Some of our peers here up front with Gene. And one of the jokes in China were, we're going to hit a fight club, a true underground fight club. And we joked about it all week. But I did a Google search when we were in Hong Kong. And I found out there was a fight club right down the road. So I grabbed Mr. Geiger and kind of pulled him out. And we went to our first fight club. It was amazing. It was below a restaurant, in the basement, smoky fight club. And we saw we saw one fight. This guy, he got his butt kicked for 2 9-minute rounds. And we went to his corner in preparation for the 3rd round. And I just couldn't believe he was getting out there. He was bloodied, it was ugly. And Gene did a loose translation of what he was saying to his friend. He said, I'm getting my ass kicked, but I've got heart and I'm all in. And so when Gene turned to me and said, all in, that's when my ears perked up. He was all in. He went out there, finished the fight, and won the fight. But before he did so, in that last round, he went up, 200 people watching him, and he let out the loudest roar, the loudest battle cry, like, ah! Everyone in the room, he didn't care what people thought. Everyone in the room just mouths open and were glued on him, and he went out there and won that fight. So that's what we're going to do with you guys. We want to hear your battle cry. Don't care what your neighbor thinks. We want to hear the roar, the battle cry. Everyone, stand to your feet. We have to own this thing. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it right. On 3, loud and proud. Only one take. 1, 2, 3.
It's kind of hard to top that, David. But I'm going to run through this real quick. You have to dominate, and the way you do that is through educating. It makes you different. It's how you become the expert. 90% of distributors are using the same tools that you're using with ESP and Sage. You have to be different. You can cheat to dominate. Lean into your suppliers. Ask them to be an expert. Less is not more. If you have a pitch and you're sharing this 4-inch picture again of a drinkware bottle, it's got 1 line of text and it says $24.99, your client's probably going to be, why is that worth $24.99? You've got to be able to get some education. So I'm going to give you some quick education of a $24.99 bottle and why is that. This is LO, and I'll move to the next slide, next piece. Riley bottle here. The bottom here screws off so that you can clean it easily, drop in ice. The top here has a push button where the top just pops open to drink out of it. On the side, it even has a lock that you can close it so it will not open. It also has a ring to carry it, so it's easy to carry. One thing you want to take away from this is LO has a patent on their silicone. Silicone is known to cause bacteria. This particular silicone has baked in antimicrobial. So it's going to, earlier this January, people were getting sick off of drinking off Yetis because of the bacteria that was growing on the silicone. So it also has another place that you can open it up to drink in it. The thing about the entire line of LO, it's dishwasher safe. So even their cork is dishwasher safe. If you engrave these bottles at Gold Bond, then it's still dishwasher safe. It's not dishwasher safe if you print on it. Just engrave it, and then you can sell a dishwasher safe drinkware piece.
What's the brand again?
LO.
Hello.
ELLO. On the screen. Read. Nike collars. Nike collars are different styles are coming out where they're shorter, where they're actually starting to point more toward the collar than versus down. It's a spread collar that's coming to, it's more popular in retail. It's starting to come into our industry. You'll see 1 or 2 styles that are available at Sanmar. There's more that are on their site for coming soon. Pad folios, be showing ones the inside of those pad folios. It's a simple task. Do videos. Also, there's over 23,000 distributors sharing content with people. Why is your client or prospect buying from you if you're sharing the same shit as they're sharing?
I dare you to run with those who will upgrade your fight and stretch your thinking. 3 people from last year's Fight Club went public and said, I'm doing this. I'm going to grow my business, and I'm sure there's others, but the 3 that I know of, Kathy Timms, up 26% versus a year ago. Julie Kozlowski, up 38% from a year ago. $1 Million Roundtable member, Gail Goldstein. So she's already doing $1 million. Doubled her volume versus a year ago. Champions.
We're actually going to fly through this because we're obviously short on time, and we want to make sure that we give props to some people that have actually really ponied up and stepped up to us. And we can go over this later individually if you like. We're going to skip this.
Okay.
We're really tight. Sorry about that.
Yep.
You might not be able to use the bathroom after this or take a shit, whatever. I do want to just talk a little bit about in my defense. Are you prepared for that loss? What are you doing to prepare for that loss? Whether that's a client or the downturn economy. What is your defensive plan? You should be prospecting. That's what it is. You cannot wait till you need it. When's the best time to prospect? When you don't need it. Exactly. Now, and the worst is when you actually need it. So I want to do some prospect math with you. How to choose that perfect client. And you'll look up here. Examine your 3 largest accounts. Determine their average revenues. Determine their average employee account, their count. Double that amount. If you want to perform just average, you just stay in the accounts that you're at. You've got to elevate your game. You've got to go after that bigger client. And this is how you do it. Google the largest companies in your area. Match your numbers to them. Do not be trying to fight outside of your weight class. That's where you screw up. It takes too long. But Brian, I have too much to do, but you're whining. Because what you're doing today is planning for your acquisitions for next year. BFD, tattoo this on your head. Big freaking deal. It takes over a year to get these. This is one picture you'll see here from Robert McKenzie. Just got this order on Friday. He's been working on it for over a year. $291,000 order. That's pretty damn sweet. We wouldn't be doing this without these awesome sponsors.
There were 5 with us last year, and they were Alpha Broder, Apple Imprints, Gemline, Imagine Brands, and Magnet. And then with any year 2 talk, we had to upgrade our game. And now we have a total of 18 sponsors here, and you can see them on the chart, this slide.
These 18 partners actually ponied up $15,000 in swag and coupons for Fight Club. Wow. So you need to be wearing your button tomorrow on the trade show floor. Those are on your tables. Make sure you have them. They're just going to spot them, and they'll be giving out exclusive limited edition Fight Club swag. We want to give props before we do our final round of those that actually helped us. You'll read them here on the screen, from Beam to McKee to Byron to the Sarge to Kim Young to Warden and Draco, but especially you, our Fight Clubbers that are taking on this next level of fight.
The final punches for today.
I promise we're wrapping it up. They don't have to use the bathroom, I promise.
Jab, jab. The old 1-2 punch. How many of us are sending reorder notices regularly, at least monthly? It's better than I thought. This is low-hanging fruit. We love reorders. They're real easy, the way to make money. Do it. Excuses. Come up and generate excuses to sit in front of your client and conduct consultative selling. Get in front of your clients. Get that relationship.
Anticipation is worse than reality. What is that gray cloud over your head that you're trying to avoid? You need to get in the ring and beat the shit out of it. Knock it out. Do away with it. Someone's always saying, but the grass is greener over there. Water your freaking grass.
Chain breaker. Take a look at what's holding you back to the sales growth that you really want to realize. Look at it, identify it, and fix it, and grow.
I'm not here to preach to you and tell you about your faith, but I can tell you that my strength comes from God. And this is a devotion that there's 10 copies over in our posse over there if you're interested. It talks about struggles and consistency in your fight.
Don't forget to go into opportunities in meetings with clients with an open mind and engage in consultative selling. Don't try pushing any one particular product. Remember, when you carry a hammer, everything looks like a nail. All of these punches shared today, the most important to me is happiness needs to be the North Star. This is a quote by Gary Vaynerchuk.
This time tomorrow will be your past. What are you doing? Are you making the decision to get in the ring now? Because it affects what the future is. This is not your practice life. You only have one shot at this. There's so much greatness in this room, but we are not great unless all of us step in the ring to fight. If you are not afraid, and you'll stand up with me and rise up, come on to your feet. We're going to do this together. We're going to yell, I got this. Because it's you that has to accept the fight, not us as a company. You got to do it yourself. So on 3, I'll do one on my own. I got this. I want you to do the same thing. We're going to do this on 3. 1, 2, 3. I got this. 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 Yeah.
Love to hear it. Love